The planet Vortex 12 was green, wild, and full of life. But not the peaceful kind. The forests breathed, the trees moved, and deep in the jungle something ancient hunted anything that dared to move. The alien people who lived there, the Lirari, were a proud, quiet race. Tall, blue-skinned, with glowing eyes and thin, sharp ears. They lived close to nature, worshipped balance, and never left their planet. But balance shattered the day the sky caught fire. Without warning, ships rained from above, warships from the Grak Dominion, a brutal empire that wanted Vortex's rich energy core. The Lirari had no space weapons, no fleets, just their speed, their claws, and their knowledge of the forest. It wasn't enough. In just days, villages burned, temples fell, families scattered. The Lirari were pushed into the deep wilds, hiding from both soldiers and the jungle itself. And among them was Neri, a young female Lirari with golden markings and sharp eyes full of quiet fire. She was not a warrior, but she refused to run. While scouting alone for water, she heard the rustle. Not a soldier, not a drone, but something worse, a Grorlath, a native jungle beast with 6 legs, acid breath, and jaws that could snap bone. They didn't hunt for food. They hunted for movement. Neri ran, fast, swift, but the beast followed, crashing through trees like thunder. It caught her, teeth closed on her leg. She screamed, loud enough to shake the birds. But then, out of nowhere, something dove straight into the beast's mouth. A figure, small, fast, covered in armor unlike anything she had ever seen. The Grorlath reared back, confused, choking. Neri fell to the ground, bleeding, stunned. Inside the beast, something was moving, cutting. And then, bam! The Grorlath's chest exploded from within. Covered in green blood, a human stepped out, coughing, knife in hand. He looked down at her. "You okay?" he said. Neri blinked. "What are you?" the man smiled. "Just someone who hates bullies." Neri stared at the strange man, her breath shallow, blood dripping from her leg. The jungle had fallen silent after the kill. The human knelt beside her, quickly opening a small metal pouch from his side. His fingers moved fast, pulling out a glowing gel. "Stay still," he said calmly. Neri flinched. "Don't touch me. You'll lose the leg if I don't." Before she could argue again, the human pressed the gel onto her wound. It burned for a second, then cooled. The bleeding stopped. The pain faded, her eyes widened. "What is that?" he smiled. "Something your jungle hasn't seen before." Neri sat up slowly, still breathing hard. Her mind raced. Who was he? Why was he here? Why did he risk his life for her? "You dove into the Grorlath," she whispered. "You could have died." "Yeah," he said, wiping green blood off his armor. "Wouldn't be the first time." Neri narrowed her eyes. "Why? You don't know me." He paused. His face grew serious. "I don't need to know you. I saw someone in danger." "No Lirari would have done that for a stranger," she whispered. "Well," he said, standing up, "I'm not Lirari, I'm human." That word, human. She had heard of them. Wild rumors, war legends, creatures from Earth, tough, emotional, unpredictable. Said to be dangerous and brave. She looked him over. He wasn't big, not like her people, but there was something in his eyes, like fire trapped in glass. "What's your name?" she asked. "Call me Jack," he said, offering a hand. She hesitated, then took it. As he helped her stand, the jungle rustled again. Not a beast this time. Boots, voices, metallic clinks. "Grak Patrol," Jack whispered. "We need to move. Now." He scooped her up effortlessly, his eyes scanning the trees. "Hold on," he said. "To what?" He didn't answer. Just ran, silent and swift, through the trees, carrying the alien girl like she weighed nothing. Behind them, the enemy was getting closer, and Neri realized This human wasn't just different. He was dangerous. Jack moved like wind between the trees. Quiet, fast, never stepping on a single twig. Neri held onto him, stunned not by his strength but by his silence. Her people were loud, proud warriors. But this human? He moved like a ghost. Behind them, the Grak patrol searched, shouting in their rough, alien tongue. Neri's heart raced. If they got caught, she'd be taken back, or worse. But Jack didn't stop. After what felt like forever, they reached a thick wall of vines. Jack pushed them aside, revealing a small, hidden tunnel in the rock. In here, he whispered. Neri looked uncertain. That's a cave, he smirked. No, it's home. They stepped inside. The tunnel opened into a wide chamber, lit with soft lights filled with strange tech, weapons, dried food, water tanks, and a long metal table. It looked like a survival base. You live here? She asked. Jack nodded, setting her down gently on a makeshift bed. I crash here between jobs. What kind of jobs? Jack looked at her, quiet for a moment. Then, the kind where people don't ask questions. Neri's eyes scanned the room. Everything was clean, organized. Medical supplies, alien maps, a scanner blinking on a corner desk. You've been watching the jungle, she said. Not. Just watching, Jack replied. Hunting. Neri's blood turned cold. Hunting who? Not animals. Not beasts. Something worse. Jack's voice dropped. They're looking for DNA, rare kinds, you know, like yours. Neri froze. Her mark, the pain, the branding. They wanted her because of her genes. How do you know? She asked. Jack turned toward her, eyes like steel. Because they used to hunt people like me too. Neri touched the skin under her collarbone. The strange glowing mark still pulsed faintly beneath her armor. It had appeared months ago, burned into her body by a device she couldn't remember. She had been told it was punishment. Now she knew better. Jack sat across from her, tapping on his old data pad. The screen showed a hologram of alien DNA strands. Hers. You're not just some random girl they caught in the wild, Jack said. Your DNA, it's rare. It's powerful. She blinked. What does that mean? Jack zoomed in. Most species use less than 30% of their genetic potential. Yours? Over 80% is active. It's like your body holds upgrades. I don't feel powerful, she said quietly. You were just attacked by a Grorloth and lived, Jack replied. That's rare. Even more rare, your DNA can adapt. Heal faster, learn faster. That's why they branded you. Not to punish you, but to claim you. Neri's eyes widened. Claim me? They tag valuable life forms like property. Her hands began to tremble. Am I a thing now? Jack looked straight at her. No, not while I'm around. The silence between them stretched. Neri finally whispered, Why are you helping me? He didn't speak at first then. Because once, someone helped me. When I was branded, when I was hunted. He rolled up his sleeve, a scar, almost invisible. But Neri could see the same kind of glow. You were marked too, she said. He nodded. We're not so different. She looked down, at her hand, then slowly reached out and touched his. We run together? She asked. He gave a half smile. We fight. The jungle outside was quiet. Too quiet. Jack stood by the cave entrance, scanning the trees through a rusted scope. His face was calm, but his muscles were tight. He knew what silence like this meant. They're here, he said softly. Neri stepped beside him. Her face was pale. The Grak? He nodded. And not just scouts. I count 5 shadow units. Full gear. They're sweeping the jungle. 4. Me, she whispered. No, Jack said firmly. For your DNA. He turned to her. Pack light. We move. She grabbed a small bag he had given her. Water, dried food, and a plasma knife. Where do we go? Jack threw a cloak over her shoulders. To the crash site, where they found you. I have to know what they took from you, or left behind. Neri's lips trembled. I don't remember crashing. That's what worries me, Jack muttered. Suddenly a loud crack echoed through the trees. Something had stepped on a mine Jack had hidden near the outer vines. They're closer than I thought, he growled. He pulled a compact rifle from under the table and handed her a stun pistol. She stared at it. I've never used one, she said. You won't need to. I'll handle the first wave. You run if it goes wrong. She didn't move. I'm not leaving you, she said. For a moment, Jack looked surprised, then proud. Another explosion shook the ground. Lights moved through the trees, blue alien torches, flickering between leaves. They want you alive, Jack said, but they won't care if I die stopping them. Neri stepped in front of him. Then we fight together. The first Grak soldier stepped out of the jungle, tall and armored in black plates. Its glowing red visor scanned the cave. Entrance. Jack didn't wait. He fired first. The bullet hit the Grak square in the chest, knocking it back. Before the others could react, he was already rolling to the side, firing again. Two more shapes fell, stunned by his precise shots. Move, he shouted. Neri stayed behind him, her hand gripping the stun pistol tightly. Her heart pounded like war drums. She had never seen this kind of violence, never felt so close to death, but also never felt so alive. A Grak tried to flank from the right. Before Jack could aim, Neri raised her pistol, hands shaking, and fired. The Grak dropped, twitching. Jack looked back at her, surprised. I told you, she said, breathing fast. We fight together. The Grak forces regrouped. Now they were careful, moving through the jungle like shadows. One threw a grenade. Jack kicked it back before it exploded. Smoke filled the cave. Coughing, they retreated deeper. Jack dropped a small charge at the mouth of the tunnel. Boom. Dust and rocks rained down, sealing the entrance behind them. But Jack wasn't smiling. That was only one squad, he said. They'll send more. Why do they want me so badly? Neri asked. Jack looked at her with a heavy gaze. Because you're not just rare. You might be the blueprint for a new kind of life. And they don't want that life to be free. Neri clenched her fists. Then we make sure I stay free. The jungle air grew heavier as they reached the edge of the crash site. Vines had grown over the broken hull of the alien escape pod. The metal was scorched black, and strange markings still glowed faintly on the surface. Neri froze as she looked at it. Her hand slowly rose to her chest. The brand on her collarbone pulsed, glowed. Jack stepped forward, scanning the area for traps. This is where they found you? She nodded slowly. I think so. She walked toward the wreck, her fingers trailing across the twisted metal. Suddenly, flashes hit her mind like lightning. Screams, a shadowed lab, needles, restraints, a cold voice. This specimen could breed stronger soldiers. She dropped to her knees, breathing hard. Jack was at her side in a second. Neri, she clutched her head. They experimented on me, before I even knew my name. Jack helped her sit. What else do you remember? She shook her head. I was locked in a tube. I wasn't born. I was made. He stared at her. You're a lab-grown hybrid? She looked at him with wet eyes. That's why they want me, not because I'm rare, because I'm their project. Jack's voice turned cold. Then we destroy everything here. He handed her a small charge. You press it. Neri looked at the wreck. It was part of her, but it was also her prison. She pressed the button. The wreck exploded in a flash of white flame. The past was gone. She turned to Jack. Now what? We stop running, he said, and start fighting. The fire still burned behind them as Jack and Neri moved deeper into the jungle. The wreck was gone. Neri should have felt free, but something was wrong. Do you feel that? She asked quietly. Jack nodded. Static in the air, like lightning, is about to strike. They reached a small ridge and Jack pulled out a scanner from his bag. The screen blinked with red lights, dozens of them. "What is that?" Neri asked. Jack frowned. Something responded to the explosion. A signal went out when you blew up the wreck. And now? He turned the screen so she could see. "They're coming. All of them." Neri stepped back. "I thought we stopped them." Jack shook his head. "No, we just woke them up." Suddenly, a deep humming noise filled the sky. Neri looked up and gasped. Above the jungle canopy, a dark triangular shape appeared. A ship. Silent. Massive. No lights, no markings. It hovered without sound, like a shadow refusing to leave. "That's not from your people, is it?" Jack asked. Neri's eyes widened. "No, it's from the lab, the one where they made me." A bright red beam scanned the forest below. A voice echoed in a strange, emotionless tone. "Specimen located, begin retrieval." Jack pulled Neri behind cover. "They know where you are." Neri's voice trembled. "They're not here to study me this time. They're here to take me apart." Jack's eyes burned with rage. "Then they'll have to get through me first." The alien ship hovered like a giant shadow over the jungle. Jack held Neri's hand tightly as they ran between trees, dodging scanner beams that lit up the forest in red. Branches snapped above them. Drones dropped from the sky, fast, silent, and armed. "Keep moving," Jack shouted. Neri stumbled but kept running. "They're getting closer." Suddenly, a sharp pain hit her back. She fell to her knees. Jack turned and saw a needle dart stuck in her skin. He pulled it out, but it was too late. Her body trembled. "Neri?" She looked up at him, eyes wide, then slumped forward, unconscious. "No. No, no, no." Before he could react, 3 tall figures in black armor surrounded them. Their faces were hidden, but their movements were cold and mechanical. One reached for Neri. Jack fought like an animal, punching, kicking, even biting. But they were too strong. One slammed him into a tree. Everything went black. When Jack woke, he was tied to a chair inside a glowing cell. He looked around wildly. "Neri, where is she?" Through the transparent wall, he saw her. She was floating in a blue tank, wires connected to her head and chest. Her eyes were closed, her arms hung lifeless. A voice echoed from a speaker. "She is not a person, she is data, and her code belongs to us." Jack's fists clenched. "You made a mistake taking her," the voice said coldly. "You should have let her die in the jungle," Jack whispered to himself, eyes burning with fury. "No, the mistake was waking me up." Jack stared at Neri floating in the tank. Her skin was pale. Her body barely moved. They were draining her, slowly, silently, like she was a machine, like she was nothing. But to Jack, she was everything. The guards thought he was weak. Just another soft human. They forgot what humans do when someone takes away what they love. He closed his eyes, took a slow breath. Then, snap. Jack dislocated his own thumb to slip out of the cuffs. Pain exploded through his hand, but he didn't care. He moved fast. Grabbed a metal pipe from under the bench and rammed it into the power panel. Sparks flew. The door hissed open. The alarm blared. Red lights flashed as guards rushed in. Jack didn't run. He charged. He fought like a storm. No weapons, no armor. Just fists, rage, and a reason. A guard raised a blaster, too slow. Jack tackled him, slammed his head into the wall, and kept moving. He reached the control room. "Override tank protocol," he growled. The AI refused, so he smashed the console. The tank's fluid drained. Neri dropped, gasping. Jack broke the glass with a fire axe and caught her before she hit the floor. "I've got you," he whispered. Her eyes fluttered open. You came. I'll always come." Behind them, boots thundered. But Jack didn't stop. He picked her up and ran, with the entire facility chasing them, because sometimes a single angry human is scarier than any army. Jack held Neri in his arms, sprinting through the chaos of the alien facility. Sirens screamed. Doors slammed, shut behind him. Metal shutters dropped from the ceiling. The enemy was trying to trap them in. But Jack had memorized the schematics from a guard's datapad. He found the hidden panel near the power core. A small door, marked only by scratches. He kicked it open. A dark, narrow tunnel stretched ahead. "Just a little more, Neri," he whispered. "Stay awake for me." She was weak, her voice barely a whisper. "Where are we going?" "Out of this hell." Jack ducked and stepped into the tunnel, closing the door behind them. It was pitch black. The air smelled old and full of rust. Moved forward, one hand on the wall, the other carrying her. Then he heard it, a click. He froze. A red laser scanned across the tunnel. Defense drones were hidden in the shadows. He ducked, rolled, and shielded Neri as a bolt fired. It hit the wall inches from them. Another drone dropped from above. This time Jack didn't run. He grabbed a broken pipe from the floor and smashed the drone before it could lock on. More clicks echoed in the dark. "Great," Jack muttered. A tunnel full of death traps, but then faint light ahead. An exit. He ran toward it, ignoring the sparks, the alarms, the pain in his legs. They burst out into the night. Cool air hit their faces. Stars sparkled above, but they weren't safe yet. A massive alien ship hovered in the sky, blocking their path, and something big was coming down from it. Jack held Neri tightly, standing beneath the glowing alien warship. Its engines roared like a storm above them. From the ship's belly, a creature descended, massive, armored, almost machine-like, a commander from the alien authority. "You have something that belongs to us," the thing growled. Jack didn't flinch. "She doesn't belong to anyone." The creature raised a cannon arm. "Surrender the female." Neri stirred. Her voice was faint, but defiant. I choose the human." That enraged the commander. He fired. Jack rolled behind a fallen tree, shielding Neri with his body as the ground exploded, but he wasn't done running. Not anymore. He stood up and faced the monster. "You picked the wrong species to mess with," Jack said, pulling a small remote from his belt. He pressed the button. From deep within the forest, the jungle responded. Boom! A trap he'd set long ago, blasting a wave of sonic charges, shaking the earth. The beast stumbled. Just for a second. It was enough. Jack sprinted up its side using exposed pipes, reached its head and shoved a plasma blade straight through its eye socket. Sparks flew. The monster let out a horrible cry and collapsed. Silence. Smoke filled the night air. Neri tried to stand. Jack rushed to help her. "I can't believe it," she whispered. He smiled. "Believe it. You're free." The warship retreated, its commander gone, and its prize lost. Neri looked up at Jack. "What now?" He glanced at the stars. "Now? We live. Together." She smiled, resting her head against him. And in that quiet jungle night, the galaxy's most feared species was no longer the beast in the trees. It was the man who dared to love,